Hey guys, welcome to Finding a Toria. We are back with our three good friends, Malcolm.
Hello.
Tori.
What up?
And me, Arcadia. We've got some fun topics to discuss in our world of TTRPGs today, and I'm going to throw it Malcolm's way to talk about how easy, and there's air quotes there, it is to be a dungeon master or game master.
So
He's going to be trying to convince us of this statement.
I want a different word than easy, because easy's just going to paint me into a corner. I can't get out. So, yeah, I've had, once again...
how about not as complicated as people think?
How about doable? Let's start with doable and achievable and accessible to all, should they so choose to do it.
Because a lot of people are scared to DM.
They absolutely are, and I think from my understanding, once again, between us over close to 100 years interacting with tabletop role playing games from a player in a game master seat, and very early on in our interaction at our early table, I don't know if I was asked to. I think it was just because I really wasn't good at playing the game, and the roles were terrible. But I really did not feel as though young Dreville was having a good go of it. And I had enjoyed what we were doing so much that I immediately found myself invested in the story and what we were going to do next.
You have always gravitated towards the DM position.
The narrative part of it.
The forever DM.
Yes.
And luckily, I don't have that. There's 5 DMs at our table.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll probably, there probably won't be a repeat performance from me unless you use the walkie-talkie to the doctor.
There shall be more of that.
Right? Absolutely.
So we get into this conversation where a lot of people want to play the game, and you hear a lot of it's looks like fun. It looks like fun. But I wouldn't want to run that. I wouldn't want to DM that. I would not want to run that game. And I think it becomes a situation where people stay away from that side of the hobby because of a lot of preconceived misnomers about what you need to do that. Now, we've talked at length about what the evolution of the game kind of looks like and why the evolution of that position has been so rapidly transforming lately. When you take seasoned voice actors, big production studios, budgets, and people that have skills that maybe not everyone who loves the game has, and say this is what it looks like. And we talk about all the great resources to go out and watch live play. And I think that it can do more than even it did before to dissuade people from getting into the chair of the DM. So I am not going to sit here with tactics and tips, and this is how you should roll dice, and this is how you should run your table. That is all out there. If you would like that, there are people that will tell you, and there's also some official sources. If you want to look to the pillars of the high fantasy realm, D&D Beyond will give you great resources. There are books out online that you can search up just by the name, and it's DMing for Dummies. It's all of the things where people will take an approach to tell you what you should be doing at the table. I don't want to do that. I think that does a disservice to people.
I was going to say that's sort of the antithesis of our whole approach to gaming. We don't tell people what they have to do at the table. There's no such thing as what you have to do at the table.
Agreed. And I don't even know if there's so much that you should do at the table, but there are some things that I think I can clear up, at least with my experience and my understanding about running a TTRPG game, campaign, 30-year unending saga of unreal shit. Whatever you get into, The first thing that you have to understand is that you're there to have fun. I know that a lot of DMs look right over that, and game masters will sit
Which is
there
so sad
and go through preparation and angst ad nauseum, because the idea is, hey, I'm trying to deliver a good game to my table. I've done this before too. If you're not having fun, very rarely are the people that you are running a game for going to find themselves able to relax enough to have a good time. If you're over there sweating over manuals, trying to decide whether it's a +4 sword or a +3 sword, have fun with it. Create an area where you can have fun, because that is probably the biggest precursor in you having a successful and fun game. The second thing is, you do not have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of the game.
No,
that's a huge one. People think, especially because people are going to turn to you, you're running the game, you've got to know no, you have to make a ruling. You do not have to be the encyclopedia.
You're a ref, not a lawyer.
You're a ref, not a lawyer. And you're probably going to have at least one person at your table that has done more investment in the rules and the mechanics.
Well, and to that point, I know we've talked about before.
That is a special interest, fuckers.
Yeah. At our table, that person is Tori.
And I'm just saying it allows me not to have to rely on myself for that.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, where we've seen people mention in the community that you can even do that formally and give people a role at the table that,
absolutely.
Hey, if there's a question about a rule, Jimmy, you're the one who's going to look that rule up. At our table, it's Tori, what's the rule? And she doesn't need to look it up most of the time.
Your table is your strength.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing, is don't be afraid not to know everything, of course. And then something that I see so much about right now is especially if you are not doing this with a group of people that you've known forever, and you're not doing this with people whose personalities, backgrounds, interests, motivations, fears, you understand, you've got to have a good session zero. You have to have an establishment of what your table is. And it gives not only you an opportunity to figure out how to best run the game, giving the information that you glean from this, but it gives your players an opportunity to get an expectation of what kind of game you're going to run. It is the social contract phase, and it can't be skipped or minimized.
So, Tori, you were really emphatic in that. Yes. Why? What's your session zero takeaway?
Well, so if you don't do a session zero, and unless it's a really well-established table, which means there's always going to be discussions before you launch a campaign. It doesn't necessarily have to be a session zero, but there's enough crosstalk if it's an established table that you're fine. Everybody should be on the same page. The session zero, though, with tables that you don't even know, and sometimes tables you do, when you do character creation, that has to be part of it. Because if not, why are you going to have like 6 paladins and the lone sorcerer, like for real, seriously? Which some of it will work, but if you say, "Hey, this is the kind of thing we're going to be doing,"
absolutely, you are able to establish the foundations of what the game's going to be, so you don't have surprise and you do not have a missed expectation, which kind of leads me into my next point. And I don't have like these listed out. There's no chart on here, but I think
surprise, he's winging it.
Okay, that was unfair and editable.
Okay, look.
No, my point
not an editable.
Is this is also how you run a game.
That's how I run a game.
And I'm not throwing that out there as a bad thing. I'm saying there's lots of value to it.
It is my style to not have those things listed out because of my next point. Segue, mistress. Is that you can inform your game. You can write a module. You can write an adventure. But let your players inform what happens. And if you do that, if you are receptive to information as it comes across during a game session, you may be led so fucking far away from what you thought you were going to do.
Pivot, just inside the TARDIS. No, that was
what was the guy's name on the bus or the subway in London?
It's all his fault.
Yeah, it's all
His fault.
Devin.
Devin.
That name must be said with reverence around this table.
Explain that a little bit. What happened?
R.I.P. Tim.
Because that talks to your point, I think.
Tim went out in a...
You have absolutely no idea what's going to be important. You have absolutely no idea what is going to move your story along, because if you do, then you're just telling a story to a group of people affected by the story. If you want that cohesion, that agency, and I love that word, where people have buy-in and they have character immersion, they have to feel as though they're affecting something.
That idea that we spoke about in a previous episode of the players and the DM together are creating the story,
absolutely,
creating the game.
And I go back to you guys know that I absolutely love a certain movie that speaks to the creation of the referee role. Going back to Totten's Strategos, which is shout out to old literature, gives an idea of what that game master, what that referee should be there for and what they shouldn't be there for. And I don't think that that's stringent, but I think that it relieves a lot of pressure on the role.
Yeah,
is that if you are not there to make sure that things happen in a game, you're there to make sure that things can happen in a game.
Yeah.
And I think that when I say that it's more accessible, obviously you don't have to be a voice actor. None of us are. You do not have to come out with a different regional dialect for every baron and lord mayor that you run into. And if you try to and you're me, they all kind of amalgamate into some Irish Australian weird fucking thing at the end anyway.
No, all dwarves are Irish, remember?
All dwarves. See, there you go. And I'm back in Australia again. So you don't have to do that. And you certainly don't have to be able to cite manual page and verse and squash something there. What you need to be able to do is to listen, watch, observe. Some of my favorite times gaming are when I haven't said shit in 5 to 10 minutes and it's all happening out in front of me. Also, I'm going to say that if it is not cost prohibitive at all to be a DM. You do not have to have a 40-inch screen embedded into a solid oak table that takes up your basement. You do not have to have terrain and miniatures and scale and hex grids and all of the accoutrements. You can, but you certainly do not have to. So taking on that role and just being a part of an integrated story with a group of people, it's the willingness.
You got to have dice. I'm sorry.
You got to have dice.
You got to have dice.
There's never enough dice.
And there's never enough dice. Yeah.
All manner of goblins at this table.
Tori.
Yeah.
You recently DM'd your first game.
Only took me 33 years.
So to Malcolm's points about, the pivoting and the, having fun and speak to some of that. What did you experience in that game? Do you feel those things hold true?
Getting the hook was the worst. When I figured out that you guys were not going to touch the monsters I threw at you, we had to.
I think there was a little metagaming going on there. We were trying not to, but
I know. But I was able to pivot, and then fucking Jess.
Which is, I'm sorry, if you're going to put those two together.
Sorry, Jess.
Yes, sorry, Jess.
And let's get out there. We all love Jess.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yes.
But she thought outside the box.
Oh, yeah, she did. To think inside the box.
To think inside the box, which
that worked so well.
I fought against it too. We rolled off because the TARDIS did not want her anywhere near it. Absolutely. And the TARDIS lost.
So for some background, our little one shot there was Tori homebrewed a version of the Doctor, the TARDIS, and Weeping Angels for us
and
to
the
go
Master.
against, and the Master.
And you guys,
it was a great game.
The fucking Master. The Weeping Angels, though, were just whooping your shit.
And I'm afraid that the ballad of the sea slap statue will have to be something that we put behind a Patreon wall.
Well,
for
hold on, because you can actually feed that into the DM thing.
Fair.
Hold on, because I have watched players time and time again go, "Can I do this?" And then you can see the look on the DM's face.
Uh-huh.
and it's usually go ahead and try. You
Can
can,
I shoot lightning into the bay?
or
Killing all this shit in the bay.
but you can get into like the players are always going to derail you. But yeah, just that if you let them try it, because you can always make the DC so high that they're not going to freaking do it. But if they fail, it could be equally as hilarious.
Absolutely. And I think that you have to have the ability to recognize at the table what is fun, what is being enjoyed, and then have the hubris to look down at the papers in front of you. And I do prepare sometimes.
You prepare a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Anything that may be on that paper is not set in stone.
Valley of Death.
Oh, yeah. That one was me. That one was me. There's this.
Go ahead. You can speak. But yes, you have to be able to pivot and you have to allow your players to inform their story. And going back to the topic before I get too far off field, is that no, it's not easy to do. It's not a simple thing. And I know a lot of people, I'm thinking of a comment that I saw just this last week on this whole topic of session zero. And guy was like, I've been running 40 plus years, never once, never will, session zero. Didn't really give anything behind that. I go back to the idea, if your table and your game runs that way, that's fine. But I find that it is one of the things that makes DMing more accessible, more doable to people that are afraid to try it or afraid to jump in, is that you have this entire social contract phase where you kind of get to flesh out and get rid of all of those anxieties and the unknowns and listen to your players. Listen to your players when they're quiet. If somebody's not jumping in, if somebody's not involved, just be aware of that. And
I think session zero to me is where we've talked a lot about, your table, and session zero is one of those places where you lay that foundation for your table. Everybody gets to an understanding of what the rules are and where things are going and how they want to create the game.
Absolutely. And I found that there are some people that just are more natural to that role of running the game, where actually role-playing a character is a tougher transaction for them to get into and to do well and to take enjoyment from. There's some people I think that are better for the chair than they are the character sheet. And can be.
Yeah.
Would you DM again, Tori?
Well, I probably would. I say I wouldn't, but I probably would. I would do a little bit more shifting of things so it'd be easier to pivot. And I'm not fucking letting just get near the TARDIS ever again.
Lessons learned.
Yes, lessons learned.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's the players are gonna jackknife stuff all the time.
Was it as difficult or overwhelming as you sort of thought it would be?
No, it was. It was basically it was what I was expecting. I got to. And this is a thing, and I know you both will agree on this. The DM dice?
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, they go behind the screen and they start glitching.
Yeah.
I could not roll well to save my soul as the DM, although I was playing my character as an NPC, and she was knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, she got every good roll.
Like, what is this?
Some of us were rolling worse than you, too. You remember the large guy in the corner, huddled. Scared.
That was her fault.
4 rounds in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And that was why you guys started playing Chuck a Statue.
Amongst other games, yes.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No, just that there are so many resources out there. It was one of the things that we talked about in previous episodes is this growth and this transformation of the hobby. There's so much out there that can help somebody make that transition and jump in, and you're going to find that players and people around you that are enthusiasts are more apt to come to the table if they know somebody's willing to do that. So it's a good thing. I don't think that it is as scary as it should be or could be, and is accessible to all.
Very cool. All right, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, Tori's going to take the opposite side of the screen and talk to us about just learning to play the game itself. So we will be back with Finding a Toria.
Awesome.
Hey, welcome back to Finding a Toria, back with Malcolm and Tori and myself, Arcadia. And we're talking about learning how to play the game, learning the different roles. Tori's going to talk to us about how to be a player, how to start playing the game.
Okay, so right now we've talked about finding your table and how that's important. Once again, sometimes bad D&D is worse than no D&D. So
Sort of a shame to have to say that.
I know it really is, but if you're not going to enjoy it,
yeah,
and even like trying for a second time with them, and then you realize I definitely don't want to do this, especially if it's for pay. So the hardest part about gaming is finding the right table.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you do,
man, hold on.
yeah, because it's gonna get crazy. Katie had said in an earlier episode, I don't know which way these are gonna release, but in second edition, the book actually says when you first start playing, stop reading this.
Mm-hmm.
Have somebody sit there and help you.
Yeah.
That's played before. The easiest thing is to sit with people who have played before. Session 0 is important. If it is a table, if you're coming in like halfway through a campaign, which I've done in the past.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I sat through character creation with at least 4 of the people who were already at the table. I got backstory and I was able to jump right into the storyline. I was actually given the hook that brought me in.
Right. Yeah.
So once you find those people, start by filling out your character sheet, but you make sure you have a vet of the game with you.
Right.
Because there's going to be a lot of things on that freaking character sheet that you're like, what the hell is this?
Oh, it's
what does this do? Why do I need this? Okay, so it's simpler than it looks. It looks really complicated, but honestly, it goes down to how many, it basically tells you what you will have an easier time doing rather than what you can't do.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think, once again, if you're going to start playing and you can play with some vets, then that is going to be the best way to do stuff, because they can actually, you can say, hey, I want to play this. And then they can say, okay, well, we have this, and this already in the party. You know, that's why, once again, 6 paladins and a sorcerer ain't going to cut it.
Walk into attack.
But if you're a first-time player, my suggestion, don't start with magic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't start with magic. Be one of the martial classes. Or if you're going to start with magic, be one of the half-casters.
Okay.
Magic is one of those positions where I would almost say I disagree with the idea of don't read the book, because to some degree, if you're going to be casting spells and you decide that you absolutely have to play a caster of some sort for your first character, and our good friend Jess, this is the route she chose, you need to know those spells.
Yes. Well, and there's the thing.
Not that you have to know everything else.
Right. Once you've got that character sheet down and with all the resources out there, absolutely go watch. If you're into it, go watch some of the live play stuff. But remember that somebody's living room does not have that kind of production value. So if you're going to look for stuff, make sure it's
realistic.
And do you think that that's probably, I mean, I brought it up on the DM side of things, but do you think that that's one of the things that might be keeping people back on, is they're like, you know what, I'd like to play, but I'm
never going to be a Matt Mercer.
Well, not even a Matt Mercer, but I'm not going to be able to do a voice, and I'm not really into, and I don't know a whole lot about all the media that people know about. It's an approachability level that I think is it keeps some people away and thinking that they have needed to be lifelong into the culture of
it's
to come over to. And the difficulties in getting people that would be generally interested in it to a table are usually beat out by them seeing something that appeals to them.
I think there's a really good point there of like, oh, well, I'm maybe not the type of person for that or whatever. For me, one of the things I'm grateful I learned to play so young, because I don't know if I would have been as open to come to the table at an older age, because I am not, I don't take on voices easily. I don't go into an acting mode easily. That's not who I am. That's not my forte. And I have seen people who are like, oh, well, that the role playing aspect.
Right. They take it very literally.
They feel like it's putting on a theater production.
Correct.
That they have to be an actor.
Downright LARPing.
And you don't. You just have to have fun.
Sure.
Well, and you're going to, okay, I will say this. Your first character, the first time you play, you're going to feel awkward as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
You are just going to feel so absolutely awkward, because you're going to be like, oh my God, these people all know that I have no clue what I'm doing. Most likely, yeah, they do, but they're going to help you throughout the game.
You know what I find combats that, and it's one of the reasons why when I DM, I'm such a stickler and a dick about it, is if somebody has good backstory.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have something to do at the table. Even if their character is a first level tripping over their own sword situation, it gives that initial investment of why am I out here? Why am I adventuring? Where did I come from? How do I interact with the world? So yeah, more backstory.
Creating the backstory is a huge piece of connecting to your character too.
It's that bond.
Like, especially if you're not an actor role playing type of person, when you have to answer some questions about who you are, where you came from, you start to have an understanding of this role.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to play too. Now, the spell thing, if you're going to be a spellcaster, when you choose your spells, look to see what they do.
Yeah.
Look to see if they have a radius, if they're a cone, if they're like a one spot that doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And I will say the modern resources. Okay, so I often play spellcasters. Not only though, but the modern resources, whether Beyond or the cards or whatever for that, are amazing, because flipping through the handbooks, I mean, if you didn't know your spell down pat, it was sort of a pain to flip through the handbooks to try and find the spell. And say,
I remember those early games where people just head down calculating things, and then they'd yell out a manual, and whoever had it, you pass it around to the open hand, and that's how you looked up. And if you didn't know, you came up with things. But yeah, you can hover over a spell for effect now and get it there. But I think you're right with the magic user, because there's a danger there if you don't do that right early on.
Well, and it's with the martial classes, they are the most straightforward you're going to play. You're going to have actions. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in one turn, we're going to make this easy. One turn, 6 seconds. It's with one round. It's 6 seconds. Take 6 seconds. That's it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you roll initiative, people go. If you're in initiative behind other people, look at your damn sheet. Just going to say that. Figure out what you're doing. But the easiest thing, I think, would be to start with martial classes, because you're not adding this extra piece.
You have a weapon or two to use.
Right. And then you can figure out, but then I can do this, or it's going to be easier. I was in a martial class, but I didn't have magic really.
No. So to be fair, a lot fewer classes had magic back in 2E.
And we had to talk about, was a reason nobody played cleric back then too. And actually it was a priest.
Yeah.
So it's, if you find those vets and then sit with them, and you can even like shoulder surf a session.
Yep.
If you're going to start playing a table, before you even bring that character sheet to the table, so to speak, watch them play once.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then you can figure out, usually your first time's always going to be a little bit awkward, but usually you can figure out where your spot is going to be. Shut up.
So I like this idea of sit at the table, sit with vets. What I've seen work, and it plays to what you're saying, is back to that. What we've talked about is don't read the rule book.
No.
Not yet.
Nope.
Sit down and yeah, like through a game session. So what do I do now? And the DM
Process,
or
right.
the player at the table can be like, you're going to roll initiative. That's that die right there.
Right.
20, numbers on it.
Right.
And
Or you still got a bonus action. What are you doing?
About
Yeah.
the concept that you learn what you need to know first that way.
right.
Yeah.
Because you can get into a manual, and if you're me, you're like, oh, illustration on page 48 is cool. Let me read what's around that. And it maybe it has nothing to do with the class of character or the campaign that I'm in or anything like that. So yeah, I think learning what you need to know, especially by that watching, especially by that just process narrative by somebody who's playing or has played, and say, okay, on your turn, you can expect that you will need to do these things or react to these things. And here's what you can do. Here's what you need to know. And then let them have that experience, do something fun with their character, create that agency. And then the at least at that point, I wanted to know more about the rules, more than what my character can do. What about the characters that are around me? What can they do? And that curiosity bred through a good initial experience is beneficial.
That, and there is one thing that a lot of people don't think about. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to fail. The dice are not always going to be on your side. Period. End of story. Some days your dice just suck.
Sometimes they deserve a timeout.
Yes, they do.
And sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you have to buy all new dice.
Sometimes the DM's dice are fantastic, and there's just things you cannot avoid.
Right. Or sometimes it's just like, oh, come on.
Right.
But don't be afraid to fail, because sometimes it's going to be funnier.
It's a better story sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And once again, it's collaborative. You're building the story with everybody. Like,
You get to learn things like, a rogue in the bush is worth two in the hand.
dude. Well, and the sad part was, did you see me? I rolled it and I'm like, I rolled into a bush. I'm totally obvious. Stealth was not my thing. And by the way, lower level characters can do really funny shit with lower level consequences. When you do it at the higher levels, then you get in bigger trouble.
When you're sneakily crinkling the chip bag, it's
I even called myself on that, because I was like, that's a one.
So what would then, and I'm full of questions on the topic, but if I'm going back to what I was initially curious in and what you brought up, it was, where would you, as somebody who is a vet in the game, go to affect that change for people? Because is it something where we should be doing more as those people who are willing to be at the table? Do you think that going out and volunteer, do you set up at schools? How do you get more people that would want to game have a good table possibility experience?
I mean, your best bet is your local gaming store.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that everybody's like the Discord thing, or there's the pay for play and other stuff. But go to your local gaming store. If worse comes to worse, you can always, a lot of them have open table days, and you can at least watch it being played. And you're going to see more like what it really looks like when you're at a table with all these people.
Versus, not that there's nothing to glean from them.
No,
but
absolutely
those
not.
Beautiful YouTube videos are just not how your table's probably going to look day one.
No.
Fair.
Which is, and there's nothing wrong with it. And sometimes I think with those guys are freaking awesome, but it takes away, I think, a little bit for at least me, because that's cool to watch and everything, but I don't want to go play like that every time.
Right.
So my head supplies pretty pictures to a lot of things. I'm good with making them in my head.
Theater of the mind works for
Yes,
you.
it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if someone is, sort of interested. They've seen all this stuff coming out about it. It's all over the news everywhere nowadays. But hesitant to step forward. How would you encourage them?
Get out of your own head. Get, like, for real. Get out of your own head, because you are making yourself. Yeah, it's going to be awkward the first time you play because you're not used to doing it.
First time you do anything, right?
Right?
Yeah.
But if you get out of your head, you don't have to be like, oh, I got to play this person exactly right. A lot of times, a lot of these characters that you'll make will grow organically just because of what you're doing. And if you're thinking too hard about it, you're not going to get into that persona.
It's a social game.
Yeah.
What happens with the other players, other characters informs, just like life informs how that character evolves.
So if they want to play this game and they look at, like our little bookshelf behind us or our table in front of us, man, there's a lot of stuff I have to buy.
You don't have to buy all that stuff.
Expensive hobby. What do you say to that? Do you need it? Do you need to start playing?
No.
Do you need to spend all that money?
No.
You don't.
And I would go so far as to say is if you do, then you might not be doing what you want to do with the game,
right?
As opposed to becoming a student of it, which if you want to read all about, there's tons of it out there. Mm-hmm. But when the original publication tells you to close the book and go watch the game,
it's a good idea.
Thing. Like the people that are selling the book are telling you, hey, you'll get
that's
to this.
You will need it later. And I can honestly say I have never read any of those books. None of them all the way through.
Right. All the way
None
through.
of
That's
them.
not how you use them. They're reference manuals.
Nope. I have never read through, even when I started and I got my first player's handbook. I did not read. I went straight to where I wanted to go. Because, okay, Chef's Kiss on 2nd edition AD&D player's handbook made sense.
Yes.
It made sense. If you're going on Beyond, you can look it up immediately. But if you're in the actual paper copy of 5th Ed, it's really hard.
Yes. I've heard that's a really good benefit of the 2024 book.
I haven't seen it yet. But get out of your own head. And once again, don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing. Everybody goes into playing D&D thinking it is going to be Lord of the Rings. You are wrong. There will be
Doctor Who.
Well, no. Because everybody thinks it's going to be this epic thing, and there's going to
quest.
Right. It's going to be, so everybody goes in thinking that's what it's going to be. No,
those are like what, level 15, level 20?
We had somebody fucking die from slipping in fish guts once.
Yes, we did.
We had a character absolutely die because they slipped in fish guts.
Yeah.
Level 1 characters are the best.
Yes. And nobody flew away on griffins that day.
Nope.
Yeah, I think there's a good point to that of recognizing that, if you're sitting down with a level 1 character, you are barely above a common citizen, and like you're more often than not probably going to be a bumbling oaf.
Yeah.
It was known in the original edition that if you ran into shit, you had a big chance of dying.
Yeah.
And so running an evasion and getting the fuck out of there and being able to jump over something and get away from something, all of those skills were what you were doing. It wasn't, all right, you go form up on the tree and rain down with arrows and me and him are going to rush them. No, you're toast.
Which is why when you tried to channel us into the chasm
Valley
of death, I went, no, can I climb the bank?
That was Chasm of Death in stereo with some pretty strong looks my direction.
Well, no, once again, players are going to throw a monkey wrench in it. But
Player's going to play.
A lot of people don't realize, and it goes to this murder hobo thing, which if you know, you know. But you don't have to fight everything.
You really probably shouldn't fight everything.
It's probably not a great idea. And if the DM looks at you and say, "Are you sure you want to do that?" That usually means don't fucking do that.
I remember doing that with somebody that's no longer at our table, and before I could get those words out of my mouth, there were dice on the table. Okay.
You're gonna die, dude. And the rest of the table went, dude.
So it's fun. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
I've learned a little bit.
Any other pointers or tips you guys would share with people who are tentative and maybe wanting to start?
There's just so many groups out there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are doing so many great things to bring it to people. Support those. Help the helpers. I
would suggest, and I will say this because we've been talking about D&D most of these episodes.
Correct.
There are other RPGs out there.
Tons
and tons.
Finding your table.
I would suggest.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. If you want fantasy, you start with D&D. Right? Mm-hmm. Just know that not all games are going to be as cut and dry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fair. Like Vampire, that is way more cerebral. It is way more cerebral than
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep,
absolutely.
very much.
There's all different levels out there.
That's a piece of it too when you talk about watching the games is, look up the different kinds of games. One might appeal to you more than another.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
we do generalize to the high fantasy realm a whole lot because that's what we have most of our background in.
All right. Are we I think we've had a really good discussion, guys. Thanks for the time.
Go be a player.
Absolutely.
Go play.
Go have fun and play. Imagination and math rocks is where
dude,
it's
it's so freaking wholesome. It really is.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on Finding Atoria. We are going to close up. Just remember, you can find us on all the socials, and we are at www.wordleafmedia.com/Finding Atoria. Thanks for joining us today.
Can I tease?
You can.
I want to tease.
Do it.
There's going to be some offerings out on Patreon. If you don't know our Patreon, you can go find our Patreon. You can support us through that Patreon. And we're going to have some outtakes, some blurbs, and some things that didn't make the cut out there.
Oh, crap. Are mics on?
Yes. The sneaky record button got hit. Also, if you have enjoyed, as both Arcadia and I do every time that we get to join her, if you've enjoyed Tori, Tori is also on another long-running, wildly entertaining and successful podcast. You can listen to her on the Trendy Lobotomy podcast.
Yep.
And we encourage you to do so.
It's not about D&D, guys. Just know that. If you're going there for that, you're going to be vastly disappointed.
But if you're going there for Tori, you're not going to be. Yes.
Stories we got.
Stories. And then, yes, we're going to have some upcoming episodes. Hopefully be delivering you Finding Atoria weekly going forward. And do hope that you share, like, subscribe.
All the things.
What else? Should I be teasing anything else?
I think that's good. You're quite the tease.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, of course. There we go.
On that note.
End it on the horny note.
Editing.